In today's world, there is a cause for everything. And with that, a charity or a nonprofit for literally everything. Some of these nonprofits are pretty straightforward, even in their title. Feeding America feeds America. Feed the children feeds the children. Save the children saves the children. But don't forget about saving the animals too, because there are a lot of animal rescues to save. For dogs, cats, blind cats, guinea pigs, sloths, and a whole lot of rescues for donkeys, and more donkeys, because everyone wants to save their ass. And then, you've got those nonprofits that you've probably never even heard of before, but they're doing some pretty great work. Like the Balloon Council, because we gotta make sure we have enough helium. The Immortality Institute, because we gotta make sure we stay alive. The Foundation for Sex-Positive Culture, because we have got to make sure everyone has a great orgasm. I'm a supporter. Come on, folks, that cause may be more important than staying alive, quite frankly. And last but not least, you have the Derek Zoolander Center for Kids who can't read good and want to learn to do other stuff good too, because I have no earthly clue what they do, but they have 150,000 followers on Facebook, so who knew? So how is my point going here? Are we all in agreement? There are a lot of charities and causes in the US today because there are so many passionate people. In fact, there are 1.5 million charities in America, and that number is only growing. So why, oh why, is charitable giving stuck at 2% of the GDP year after year after year? In the nonprofit sector, we call this the stubborn 2%, because it's been stuck there since the 1970s. It's like a flat line, stagnant, like it lost its own heartbeat. A lot of people say it's stuck there for good because people are just getting more selfish every single day, especially those millennials and those Gen Xers, always on their phones, self-absorbed, self-involved, selfish. In fact, if that is the next generation, well then, the stubborn 2% is never going to change. It's going to be stuck there for good. That's what they say. And those words too, funny enough, stuck there for good. I think they're wrong. And you know what else I think? Selfish is the new good. And here's why. Different generations give for different reasons. The greatest generation gives out of a sense of duty. Lots of war heroes in this group. It's their sense of duty to give back. The baby boomers give out of self-expression. This group gives more than any other group in the US today. Most of them women. And by the way, women in general give more than men. Had to get that in there. And then you've got the Gen Y, the Gen X, and the millennials, or the so-called me generation, born sometime between 1980 and 2000. And they typically give for two reasons. One is if their peers ask them to give, and two is if it's trending in the media. So those millennials and those Gen Xers, always on their phones, you know, that selfish generation, well, they've made some pretty amazing things happen. Like asking people to dump ice on their head. The Ice Bucket Challenge has to date raised $128 million for the ALS Association. They also asked people to grow a mustache in November. The Movember campaign has to date raised $650 million for men's prostate health. And they also ask people to share videos and say, it gets better, to advocate for LGBT rights. Ladies and gentlemen, the reason why these campaigns were historic is because they created urgency, and urgency creates movement. ALS is not an earthquake, it's not a bombing, it's nothing sudden. Neither is men's prostate health or LGBT rights. These causes have been around for decades, But it wasn't until the selfish me generation got involved that people started rallying around them. And that's influence. And influence, as we know, is power. Forget about just sending in a check for a tax break and calling it a day. This group, these millennials, they want to invest in a cause by giving their time, their treasure, and their talent. Most important, they want to be heard. And they will be heard, and fast. Starting a fundraising campaign on Kickstarter or Indiegogo takes them 20 minutes, tops. These platforms bring in $1.5 billion, not million, billion, for charitable causes every single year. And these millennials, they put their money where their mouth is. In 2014, 84% of working millennials gave their own money back to charity. That's a big deal because the millennials are more in debt than any other group right now because of student loans in a really bad recession. That's a double whammy that the baby boomers and the greatest generation didn't have to face. And if the millennials can't give their money, then they give their time. 70% volunteer. So who do we have to thank for all this? You know, who paved the way and inspired the most selfish generation? Well, the most selfish, greatest philanthropic leaders of our time, of course, like these two. Warren Buffett and Bill Gates. They happen to be rich, they happen to be friends. One day they said, you know, we've got a lot of friends who are billionaires. Wait, I got it. Why don't we just ask them to give 50% of their wealth back to charity? It'll be fun. We'll call it the Giving Pledge. Guess who signed that pledge? Members of the me generation, including co-founder of Facebook, Dustin Moskowitz, and his wife, Carrie Tuna, Spanx creator, Sarah Blakely, and of course, Mr. Zuckerberg and his wife, Priscilla. The couple liked the idea so much that they announced in a letter to their newborn daughter, Max, that they were going to give 99% of their Facebook shares to charity. 99%. In case you're wondering, that's $45 billion bucks. They said they were motivated to do it because they want their daughter, Max, to grow up in a world that's better than the one they live in today. Stuff like this, it makes me really excited for the future and excited for what's next in philanthropy and tech and entrepreneurialism and health and all the sectors. The more selfish we get, the closer we'll get to creating urgency around the causes we care the most about. The more selfish we get, the more that giving back will be something that we don't just do around the holidays, but something we do every day. The more selfish we get, the more good we will do. Not just the me generation, but for every generation that follows. When I'm not giving TED Talks, I work for Autism Speaks. Put another way, I change the future for all who struggle with autism. That's the cause I work on every day. And so when I'm at a cocktail party and someone says, "What do you do?" that's what I say. And it's odd, you know, I always get a very similar reaction, which is, "Oh, you work for a cause, that's so great. And you know what? I've always wanted to work for a cause. And one day when I retire, that's exactly what I'll do." My answer is always the same. What are you waiting for? The number one reason someone gives is that they were asked. So get started, get out your phone, and get selfish for good. Thank you.